Hey, movie lovers, welcome back for another Anatomy of Movie here at Popcorn Talk. Today we talk about Jennifer Garner's new movie called Peppermint, the flavor of ice cream that is so wonderful that they turned it into a movie. Stay tuned.
Welcome to Popcorn Talk, featuring movie discussion, news, and interviews. Popcorn Talk, we talk movies. And now, here's Popcorn Talk's Anatomy of a Movie.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We're back. We have Marisa Serafini.
Hello, everyone.
And I'm Phil Svitek. Missing in action today is Demetri, Panos.
Yep.
Fear not, he will be back next week when we do A Simple Favor as well as... What's the other one?
We have a lot of films.
Okay. I was queuing you up.
I was ready for A Simple Favor. I've seen it. It's great.
We will be
But that's
doing The
next week.
Predator and A Simple Favor.
Predator. Yes.
Anyway, but today we're dissecting Peppermint, the action film with Jennifer Garner. Couple things to note. Number one, if you're just joining us for the very first time, welcome here. Glad to have you on the show. If you're returning, welcome back as well. You already know the format, but nonetheless, bear with us as I explain it to those unfamiliar. We not only just review the movie, but we also talk about the behind-the-scenes aspects, how much money it made, and kind of give how and why to everything, right? Furthermore, because of that fact, it is going to be spoiler-filled, so we assume that you've seen the movie, or at the very least, just don't care about spoilers. So be forewarned right here, right now. And that's kind of it. We have a lot of fun doing it. So where we always start with, though, is our overall thoughts. So, Marisa, what did you think of this movie?
I was actually really excited to see Peppermint because I'm a big fan of Jennifer Garner, her as an actress. I was a big fan of the Ellis show, so I know that Jennifer Garner can literally kick ass. And seeing this trailer, I was like, oh, great, another action film for her to be badass. And I was like, I'm all for it. Because the last decade of Jennifer Garner's acting career have been, like, mother roles, which are nice, you know. Like, they're kind of, I don't want to sound demeaning whatsoever, like, the light and fluffy, easier roles. They're not, like, action-heavy, drama-heavy. And this was, like, this is the Jennifer Garner that I grew up with, Alias. And then, so I was excited to see this film. Awesome action, awesome sequences. It does not deserve the low rating that people are giving it. Yes, it has some glaring issues, and we'll get to it, but really it didn't bother me all that much. Mm-hmm. So I actually did enjoy this film.
Fair enough. I think this movie, like, it's not a bad movie. It just, for me, gets lost in a sea of other stuff. I think that's the number one problem it has. I mean, there's issues in terms of story and a couple of things and whatnot, but I don't think that's what, like, determines its low Rotten Tomatoes score, for example, or at least it shouldn't. I think, unfortunately, like, as far as we'll talk box office, but be spoiled that it's not that great.
Pretty low.
It's I think it just deals with that there's just too much other stuff going on right now, and I don't know. It just didn't stand out. But overall, like, there are parts of the movie that I liked. There were parts of the movie that I didn't like. The parts that I liked, I really liked. The parts that I didn't like, I really didn't like. And we'll talk about more of those as we get into it. So let's sort of break it down kind of, from a story perspective. When you talk about Jennifer Garner and mother roles, well, guess what? She was a mother in this movie, just a different kind.
Yeah, a more badass mother in this film. It's definitely in her wheelhouse of acting. But I think she's so good at playing such a maternal character, someone like a loving parent, and you do feel for her when she loses her husband and her child all in the same day. So that would emotionally wreck someone. So that I understood, that I could feel for her as an audience member. Just in the storytelling, yeah, it sets up the whole premise for the rest of the film.
Well, her husband Chris, I was kind of curious how they would handle this. It was right from the get-go. This was, part of the inciting incident. They very obviously made a very deliberate choice that he never took the job. Now, I was wondering, kind of before that moment of, wait, has he done this multiple times before? Like, does he have a history of this? But no, it very much indicated that this is kind of his first time being asked, and and he very much turned it down.
Right, and it seemed like it seemed like the first time, but also he apparently things, I guess, in their personal life and their marriage life got so bad financially that he felt the need that he had to take this job to help their family live somewhat of a better life or have more opportunities. Oh, did that kick them in the ass so hard?
So hard indeed. But I think it would brought about a darker tone to the movie if he actually was somehow tied into the cartel. But the fact that they made a very deliberate and wise choice, I think, to stay away from that side of it by making it known that he did not take it, and that her entire family is just victims of tragedy.
Right, and I think it also makes sense that as unfortunate as it is to lose the husband and the child, I think losing two people at once and compared to maybe losing just one or the other, that adds more impact of why she's doing this revenge justice trip that she's going on in the spree, essentially. So, like, because she lost two people, it's double the pain. That's double the efforts of why she's going out after everybody, compared to if she just lost her husband. Would she kill 43 people for one person?
Yeah. Maybe if it was just the daughter, maybe, but who knows?
Yeah. For one person, 43 people, I don't know. The ratio is not the greatest. But also, if she lost the daughter, would she also lose 43 kill 43 people?
Which, just as a side note, that's so many people that, like, just watching the movie, I didn't realize the full body count.
Yeah, apparently the entire body count at the end of the film, she killed 43 people. Hence 43.
That is quite a number that I was,
Yeah.
I didn't add them up, I guess.
Yes.
Anyway, I want to pause real fast and talk about a moment in the movie, since we're talking about the inciting incident. This entire movie is called Peppermint simply because of the ice cream flavor that the daughter chooses, and at no point is it ever brought up again.
Nope. No.
She didn't even like the flavor. She got Rocky Road.
I know. So it like really deters the meaning of peppermint for those who love it. I think it was more so that peppermint was the flavor that was so important to the daughter, and because that was the last thing the daughter ever did with her mother, peppermint is just so ingrained into her memory. Like, this is meaningful. Now it's just peppermint. It's like she can never think of the word peppermint the same ever again after that whole night.
Fair enough, but
does it add to the storyline? No.
But it never comes back. Like that sort of idea that she can never have like peppermint ice cream. Like the word peppermint never comes back, and yet that is your title of your movie. I think if anything did a disservice to the movie, it's the title.
What? Okay, I agree with that. But what other potential titles could have worked for this film?
Rocky Road. I don't know, something.
The Rocky Road that she was going on.
Yeah, see, double entendre.
Maybe.
Anyway.
Well, I think maybe peppermint was just also peppermint something sweet, so it might have like enticed people to go say, "Oh, peppermint can't be that bad." If it's peppermint, I don't know.
False advertising.
I'm trying to
did.
justify the word peppermint, other than the fact that it now has significant meaning in her life.
Fair enough. Well, let me ask you something that has significance, especially as it relates, because she's going after the cartel. Now, there's a couple of articles that I read that were talking about the stereotypical nature of the cartel. Like, it's not just one thing that they're all Latino, but like the three people that murdered the husband and the child, I mean, they just look like gangbangers. And I'm sure that they don't look like them, like the actual actors themselves
they
aren't
purposely look to look like that.
And so I want to get your take on that, because some people are calling that I don't know, let's say insensitive, especially in today's time and age. You know, when you think back on Black Klansmen and you know how that brought up the idea of Birth of a Nation, rousing the KKK into action, and like this, in some sense, you know, very deliberately could do some, you know, just
right.
by that sense.
And there was another article too where they were worried about the ethnicity, that all the cartels in this film were Mexican, were Latino. Also, because it just unfortunately coincides with the timing of Trump and all of his retorts against the Mexican community, the Latino community. So people are worried that the Mexican cartel in this is misrepresenting the Latin community. And even the director, Pierre Morel, he was like, it wasn't really about that because it was written into the story. He also purposely had the lead investigator, the lead cop, who's on the good side, he was also Latino. So it just happened to be that fit within the story that the cartels were Mexican. It's not really, designated to a certain race. It's just, that was the story. And it wasn't attacking a particular race just because like, hey, cartels, you automatically think Mexican. No.
Yeah. And to that point, I mean, it's... as far as the corruption, the corruption stemmed pretty far. Certainly, the judge got his comeuppance eventually in the movie, which was a good moment, I thought.
Yeah, I mean, there were a lot of bad people in this films of different races. So not just the Mexican race, but the judge who was Caucasian. There is really whoever did injustice towards Riley North really got what they deserved in the end. Absolutely.
Well, before we fully dive into other stuff, I want to use the jumping off point of the cop, right? The cops themselves. So one's Latino, one's not. Carmichael is not. Mm-hmm. And for most of the movie, it kind of hints towards that Moses would be the cop that is giving intel to the cartel. And yet, they do a bait and switch because it's actually Carmichael.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts on that little twist? Because it was a big twist.
I think that was actually pretty set up pretty well because when we see Detective have that moment with Carmichael saying, anyone who thought about going up against this Diego Garcia got killed. Just thinking about it, let alone actually physically getting involved. So it kind of like played with the audience like, okay, he's smart enough, or he should be smart enough not to go against these guys. So he's like, if you can't beat them, join them.
Exactly.
And you're like, well, shoot, that makes sense that why like now knowing that Carmichael was involved with them, it makes sense that Diego Garcia got away with whatever he was doing for so long.
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting. I would love to see kind of Carmichael be a little bit more involved, like, once we figured it out, because, like, the breadcrumbs never indicated that he had ever been the mole. Mm-hmm. I mean, it only made sense as far as, like, it's not like we mistook any clues. It's just the clues that they threw out, very deliberate clues with Moses, by that notion, as you talked about. You know, generally when that happens, yeah, it's going to be you. Whenever you try to prevent someone else from doing their job, from like going after the truth, it's probably because you have a self-interest. Mm-hmm. Whereas no, it was an altruistic interest of Carmichael. You're going to die.
Yeah.
So that was yeah, I don't know. As far as Carmichael, I really wish that they layered in one or two things to then have, when the aha moment comes, it's like, oh, we misinterpreted something, rather than it wasn't there. And
they did tease moments where Carmichael was so defiant against, like, no, it can't be the same guys. It's like he was purposely like reluctant to that and didn't want to believe and dismissive that these are the people that he was involved with. And now we know why, because like these can't be the same guys from 5 years ago. Like, so he kept believing, making the audience believe, it's like, no, it's not the same guys. But it's only because he's trying to cover his own ass.
Yes, indeed. So to that point, I guess a natural question would be, what was your favorite murder?
There are so many.
43 to be exact.
And it's really hard to just like pinpoint everyone.
But what was interesting, like this...
I wouldn't say my favorite murder, but my favorite sequence where she just like went all out was when they were in that stuffed toy factory, and she just like Game of game of death and went up the different levels and took out everybody individually. And she was smart, and she used the environment, she used the racks and things to fall down on people, and like, she was smart about it. It was awesome.
Yeah, and
it was fun to watch.
You know what makes this movie work is that it's no different than other sort of movies in the genre that whenever you feel like you can't do something about something, like I'm sure plenty of people have felt like her, where there's a sense of injustice and justice isn't being brought about. And so the fact that she's enacting it, you know, the more that she goes through it, the more kind of relief you feel, and you live vicariously through her.
Exactly. I'd have to say my most disappointing deaths. This sounds terrible. We're excited about deaths.
They were deserved.
They were deserved.
They
Yes.
were evil people that killed for no reason.
Yes. Very true.
At least the husband and...
This is a film. I was actually very disappointed that we didn't get to see the 3 guys she hung up on the Ferris wheel, the 3 ultimate guys that actually killed, because they were killed off screen. We didn't see it. They were just strung up and displayed for everybody, but we didn't see it. And it was so early in the film. And you're like, oh, great. You can actually build a whole storyline to get to those 3 guys for an entire film. But the fact that they were killed off in the first 15 minutes, I'm like, who else do you have to go after?
Well, everyone that wronged her.
Apparently, Diego. Well, I imagine the lawyer and Diego. But they were all essentially, well, Diego made it to basically the end. But the lawyer and the 3 thugs, if you will, they were killed in the first 20 minutes. So I was like, okay, that's essentially an entire film. So everyone else are just really bystanders.
I mean, they had a hand to play. They were part of the... Number one, everyone was part of the cartel.
Yes.
So,
in some shape or form, yes.
What's the term? They're accomplices.
Mm-hmm.
One way or the other. Or what do they call it? There's a more technical term where you're not an accomplice, but you're privy to the knowledge, or you didn't stop it, or something or other.
Proxies.
Yeah, I'm not a lawyer. Anyway,
it's okay. I understand what you're saying.
I think, yeah. Thank you. Anywho, as far as that, yeah, it was. You're right about that. It is an interesting take, because that could have certainly been the movie, but it was more so about Diego Garcia, because he's the one who put out the hit, right? Mm-hmm. And he was the end all be all. You know, one of the things that I was surprised that didn't quite happen was the social movement, as far as you know, all the people that the homeless people that she was living with. Like, yeah, they made the poster for her, but it didn't kind of grow beyond that. The social media, like, I appreciate the periphery of this quote unquote social media of people like, yeah, go go. But,
well, she built a community that she was helping out, protecting, and therefore they kind of protected her, or at least looked to her. I mean, look at this poster. For those listening on iTunes, there's the actual Peppermint poster where the angel wings are made out of bullets. So it just shows that, yes, she helped that ghetto community and protect them, be safe, but also they didn't really help her when she needed it. That's the problem. She helped them, but they didn't really help her. And that was what was frustrating. Yeah,
that's a good point. That is a good point. Yeah, I never thought about it in that way, but she really is a standalone person.
Yeah, because not to jump far ahead, but like the whole showdown at the end, where like the kids got involved, unfortunately, who were living in the ghetto, everyone was just standing there observing on their, well, like the regular community on their iPhones, those who could afford it, and then the rest of the ghetto community was literally just standing there. So like they didn't really help her; they were just there. And I'm like, that's also unfortunate. It's like, stand up for her, stick up for her.
Yeah, you're right. It's interesting to look at it that way, because you certainly wouldn't expect help from the bitchy mom. That was great. That was a good moment, because at no point did I think, okay, the bitchy mom's also going to now change her ways. And you know, she plays it so amazing and sadistic, but fun, where she's like, your house is going to blow up. Don't worry, now I lied. But just that moment, that the pain that the mom had.
I think it was
great.
a good setup because just with that suburban mom who's definitely judgmental. Because at the beginning of the film, you see she also did her wrong, not in the killing way, but just like emotionally picked on her. And then her daughter's like, you should have punched her in the face. Cut to an hour later, and she does actually punch her in the face. I was like, yeah, she had that coming. But with the whole delivery of the line of, I'm going to burn your house down, this is after we've already seen her kill about 20 people. So
And the house blow up.
And so, like, the audience is already, like, conditioned and like, yeah, I think she's serious. So she probably would burn that house down with you in it. So it was actually pretty funny.
Well, I think what as far as writing, their biggest strength is knowing when to not take things too far. Mm-hmm. So, like, at that point, if she really did blow her up, I think it would have been one step too much. However, I actually do think she's more deserving than even, like, maybe we give her credit for. Because had the mom not been bitchy, and had the mom not set up the party, then they never would have had to go and get ice cream in the first place.
So it's the mom's fault.
Yes, it's a series of bad events.
Fault. Yep, yeah, I agree. She should have just went after the mom first, and the movie would have been over.
Well, like our little girl Peppermint says, it's not her name, but anyway, yeah, she should have punched her right then and there. End of story.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
But at least she got what she deserved to. So.
Yes,
just
she
a
did.
nice punch in the face.
What do you think about kind of the addition of the FBI and all that, especially the pseudo-developing love story that was supposed to be happening, but then obviously doesn't?
I really liked Lisa. I was all for her. Woman power. She was the smartest person in the room. She was the one getting all the answers, and especially when Carmichael was like there witnessing that, oh crap, she's gaining on me. She was the one getting all the answers. She figured out all the police trafficking and all that. So like I liked her because she was taking initiative to finding steps and getting closer to Riley, and she was bringing the audience along with her. It's like, okay, yeah, we know what Riley's up to. And then, like, unfortunately, she gets literally dumped into a dumpster. I was like, she did not deserve that.
No.
I liked her. I was rooting for her. She was the person I wanted to live in the end.
She should have. Two strong women.
I know. Would have been great.
She did not deserve it.
See, but her problem is she was too smart. Too smart that they had to kill her. They had to stop her. And the only way to stop her was to kill her.
Yeah, I just wish. I don't know.
She was good, though.
I mean, obviously it works from a story perspective, but from a emotional characters you like type of viewpoint, you're like, I really wanted her.
Yeah, and it was also good to have her because this is, if you really think about it, this film is really one woman and a bunch of men. And so to have another woman who's like more fairly sane and neutral throughout this whole movie is actually, kind of refreshing. You're like, okay, now we have like a good template of what a good sane woman is to follow in this movie.
Yeah, well, I think it was the system that drove Riley North to, quote, be insane. And again, insanity is sometimes a matter of perspective.
Right. Or pushed to the edge, or pushed beyond her limits.
Pushed beyond her limits, certainly. And, how she trained, we don't know. I mean, we kind of get a glimpse to it, but, just for 5 years, all she did was train how to kill.
Yeah, okay. So I'm glad we're on this now, because this was my glaring issue of the movie, because the first 5-10 minutes set up really good for family storyline. And then we skip 5 years, and we only get maybe 2 glimpses of what she did during the 5 years. And in a storytelling, you're basically skipping the whole middle act. What happened? I wanted to see the moments with Riley North being like, okay, I got out of the asylum. This is my whole thought train process. I'm going to properly train. I'm going to track down the system, track down everyone who was involved. And I wanted to see her journey and her process to get to the point where she can just kill a bunch of people. But
So you wanted the
we
Breaking
didn't see
Bad
that.
version of Jennifer Garner.
Yeah, like I wanted to. It would have helped more for character development and made it way more believable that she was capable of taking out so many people. In the first 10 minutes, it seems like she wouldn't hurt a fly. In the last hour and a half, she kills everybody. So, but like, where's the? It's like you go from literally 0 to 100, and you skip the whole middle ground, and that's
it's just
what
different.
really bothered me.
It's a different story. It's not the story they wanted to tell, like, ultimately, because I mean, in that sense, you could make 2 movies out of it, right? You could do this movie where she kills the 3 people, and then that's kind of like her calling card of like, I'm coming for you, Diego Garcia, and then sequel, we get Diego Garcia.
Right.
So, I mean, it's just, yeah, I'm not saying one's better or worse than the other. I think they're just different.
Yeah, and I get that, but I think having a better background and building more of a developed character would have made the audience more believable. Like, yeah, she can take out all these guys. She got so good at weaponry. She's a sharpshooter. Like, she literally went from someone who probably never touched a gun to now better than most snipers. So it didn't feel like this is a part missing in the movie that would have helped to the character development.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think, I mean, if I look at the purpose of this movie, it really was just live vicariously through Jennifer Garner versus let's tell an amazing story.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think that's why it goes the way that it goes. It's because it's like, okay, we want to get Jennifer Garner 43 kills. Not we want to shape Jennifer Garner into an Oscar-winning performance.
Yeah, no, I get that.
I'm not saying right or wrong. I'm just saying that's what it is.
I'm just trying to think of another film. Enough. If you've ever seen the movie Enough with Jennifer Garner, or not Jennifer, the other Jennifer Lopez. At the beginning of the film, she got wronged by her husband, and who beat her up. She got so pissed. She took up Krav Maga. Yeah, her. And you see her process of like learning the martial arts, learning the skills, learning the mind and getting her mind set. And then we see in the third act, she taking out her husband. Like, we saw a whole character arc, character process of her going from 0 to 100 in that film. Not in this film. Not in this film. You missed the whole building up process that she can take out so many guys.
Yeah, that is true. Well, the good news is there's plenty of articles out there that you can read about how Jennifer Garner got into ass-kicking mode. So at the very least, while you're robbed of it in the movie, plenty of stuff out there. Like, for example, on her Instagram pages, Jennifer.Garner, there's plenty of workout videos of her getting into shape for this movie. So, you know what? While you're missing that, Marisa, that just means you got to follow more at Jennifer Garner.
Nah, I guess. But I think also, like, me being a general fan of the Alias show, I know she's capable of it. So I like to think I'm kind of an anomaly audience member who's like, yeah, I totally believe that she can kick ass because I've seen her kick ass in other stuff. Elektra, I mean, she got Marvel movies because of Alias. So, like, I know she's capable of it as an actress. As a character, not so much. But, yes, Jennifer Garner, because she did a lot of physical training for this months in advance. She was a dancer, younger, so the whole muscle memory, body memory of movement and stuff. She got back in it, and she really did actually put the training and the physical work, getting back into shape and kicking ass. So good on her. We didn't see it in the film. But we see it on social media, ironically.
Well, we saw the end results of these workouts. So good for her. I mean, you know what? The biggest thing that I'm reading about as far as this movie, and I tend to agree, is that she did fantastic. Perhaps not the best vehicle for Jennifer Garner's talents.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, and especially like if you want to see Jennifer Garner as a badass woman, I think there's a way to do that might be just a little bit stronger than Peppermint.
See, and that was also, just go watch Alias. And for those who, honestly, I'm going to keep bringing up Alias because that's a brilliant show from J.J. Abrams. But that's a great vehicle for Jennifer Garner just as an actress, because there's so many moments with her character, Sydney Bristow, in that show where she's vulnerable, she's emotional, she is a real woman with real human problems and stuff. And then on the flip side, she's chasing bad guys all over the world and kicking their asses. So, like, that's a good show that showcases both sides of her. This movie kind of does that. In the first 10 minutes, you see the vulnerable side, and then you see the extreme side. But where's the process? You don't see the process.
Fair enough. Well, unfortunately, like with peppermint ice cream, most people don't necessarily love. It's not their favorite flavor of ice cream, and so therefore, this movie did not do that well in the box office.
Yeah, it's not ice cream; it's ice cold.
It should have been. They should have gone with chocolate or something.
Yeah.
Or even vanilla. Enough people like vanilla more than peppermint.
Yeah. But vanilla is also sometimes very bland.
Puns aside, though, unfortunately, a 12% on Rotten Tomatoes.
That is so low. That is so ridiculously low. I mean, yes, granted, this is not my favorite movie whatsoever, but it's not deserving of a 12%. But that's the crazy thing. On Rotten Tomatoes, the Tatum meter score is 12%. So that's critics. That's the general critics. But the critic score is 13%. But the Tatum meter, which is the general audience, is actually 81. That's high. That's ridiculously, that's a passing grade. That's a B, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, I would rank it, I would give it like a C plus B minus, which, 81 is a B minus, so it seems like we're on par there. To be honest, I don't think this is, I don't know, I had, I guess, fun watching it, but in the movie theater, but I don't necessarily know if it's 100% necessary to have to see it in the movie theater to enjoy it. You could wait for it later, but it is what it is.
Yeah, and I think it's upsetting too, because when you see a score that low just from the critics, you have to wonder what were they going into this film looking for. If they were expecting another Taken film, because it is by Pierre Morel, who was in charge of Taken, which was so badass. That's a great film too. If you're expecting a Taken film, it's not that. No. It's not that. But I just have to wonder, what were they looking for? And what did they miss for them to score it so low?
Well, overall, as far as the plots and the motives are by the numbers, and things kind of, as far as things play out, it's by the numbers, So I think that's the problem. There's nothing really that's new. It's just more of the appeal of like, oh, you want to see Jennifer Garner kick butt and kill 43 people? Here's what you got. But it doesn't necessarily do it in the most inventive way. No. And I think that's the problem. Yeah. Overall, though, it did not do so well. It went on to debut at $13.4 million, finishing second at the box office behind The Nun, which, you know what, The Nun raked in over $50 million, so the big disparity, 1 and 2, quite a big.
Yeah, and horror always does well, so you need a Nun. And Nun is based off of a franchise too, so yeah, it has that going for them.
You would have thought this would have been a little bit higher. Worldwide gross so far, $17.6 million, so not doing too good against just the production budget of $25 million, let alone like what the advertising was and whatnot.
Right. And I didn't really see a lot of advertising for this film. I saw maybe a couple trailers, and that's about it. And this is a movie that takes place in LA, so you think, oh, did you notice? And this is really only relevant to us too, but the Ralph's, the grocery store that Riley North was in with her daughter, and that's where we see the suburban mom. That's the Ralph's that's in Encino.
There you go.
I was like, I know that Ralph's. I was just there 2 days ago. I just appreciated that. This is an LA-based story, so you think it would cater to the LA audience.
A little bit. I mean, not to continue sort of down this path, but I must. I remember when I saw the trailer, I kept being like, okay, I want to see this. But I would always forget the title. And even in the trailer, the name of Pepper, she's never, because in the movie she's not ever referenced as Peppermint, when the title comes up as Peppermint, you don't put 2 and 2 together. And so I had a hard time remembering of like what this movie was, and then I'd see, in my, let's say, my Fandango feed or something like that, Peppermint's coming out. I was like, what's this? And I can't constantly be reminded, oh, that's the Jennifer Garner movie. So I honestly think a better title could have maybe helped a little bit.
Yeah, I agree with that. Peppermint doesn't really explain the movie.
No, and it just really doesn't help me remember it either.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's, I don't know. Maybe I'm attributing too much to it.
I'm trying to think of another name. Maybe like Angel of the Night. The ghetto people would call her that or something. I
don't know. Mother's Revenge. Like something.
Wronged Woman.
Anywho, any other thoughts and opinions before we wrap this one?
I think action-wise, people would actually enjoy this film. The action and the cinematography and how they do a lot of their action sequences. I mean, they blew up an entire factory. That's cool. A lot of guys and some girls would also enjoy that. The action part of this movie, done very well. Storytelling, severely missing on a lot of things. It did not hit the mark on a lot of different things.
I agree. However, all that means is I was trying to find a way to tie it into future optimism of movies that we're going to see. But before I get there, number one, if you disagree with us, you can leave us a comment and let us know. If you do happen to agree with us, by all means, let us know in the comment section. That's what it's there for, so we can converse off air, if you will. Mm-hmm. Also, what I was trying to cleverly tie into and just couldn't was I am looking forward to talking about A Simple Favor next week.
Same here.
I have gotten a chance to see it, and I think it's really well done.
It's great. I can't wait to talk about it.
So if you like Peppermint, I think you'll like A Simple Favor a lot more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Anywho, we've got that. We're going to try to squeeze in White Boy Rick, as well as we're going to be doing The Predator. In the meantime, you can interact with us more directly at Serafini TV.
That's right.
I'm at Phil Svitek. The other movie we did today, if you're interested, we did The Nun. And from weeks prior, we have done The Happy Time Murders. We've done Crazy Rich Asians. I know that's still a very big movie.
Yeah, and that just broke another box office record.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's breaking a lot of records.
And The Meg's been doing quite well, too. So we did The Meg. We're coming to a close on summer. And so all the summer movies, if you're just catching up with all of them, well, guess what? You can catch up on all the anatomy of movies because we've pretty much covered every single one, at least every major one. Mm-hmm. Some of the smaller ones, we apologize if we didn't touch upon those. It has nothing to do with the quality of the movies and everything to do with our time.
Yes, our schedules.
So anyway, lots to look forward to and lots to fill your time with catching up. In the meantime, thanks for watching. We'll see you next week. Bye.
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network. The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Popcorn Talk Network or its owners or principals.